The 2020 Goals for Girls Leadership Summit in India was held in Bangalore. Girls came to be together from all over India and the US. We learned about leadership building from G4G trainers as well as the other girls at the summit.
As a Goals for Girls intern, I was able to facilitate some of the sessions at the summit and take more of a leadership role. Goals for Girls has given me the tools to be a better leader, and now I'm able to teach other girls and help empower them to be leaders as well.
The main thing we want girls to take away from this summit is that they are strong, intelligent, and capable of making a positive change in their own lives first, and therefore contributing to making a difference in their communities.
We are joined now by Lola Ogunbote from Goals for Girls, who's part of our feature, as you've just seen in the short video on Goals for Girls. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
Absolutely. I've been a fan of Goals for Girls and what you all have been accomplishing for some time. It's great to get a chance to meet you. So tell us, how did you get involved for Goals for Girls?
It's an interesting story, actually. I was thinking about getting involved in female empowerment. I was a lawyer by profession before, and I got to a point where I wanted to change, and I knew that football or soccer for our American friends was something that I was very, very passionate about. So I was researching names of organizations, and I came across Goals for Girls. I sent an email at the time to the executive director to say that I wanted to learn more about the organization, and we kept in touch. An opportunity then arose for me to join voluntarily one of their summits in Utah in 2008. And so I was able to participate and see the program in action, and it was just phenomenal. Such an impactful experience for me to see how football can change the lives of so many girls. We then kept an open dialogue, and 6-8 months ago now, an opportunity came for me to come on board as an employee, and I definitely jumped at the chance. So I guess there's a lot to do with networking and luck and opportunity all meeting itself at the same time.
Absolutely. It's funny how we all come to this profession. Very few of us seem to have gone to school for it. We just come to it because we care. So for those that are joining us aren't familiar with exactly what Goals for Girls is, clearly it's young women coming together and learning a lot of skills outside of football, but also using football to maybe re-emphasize some of those skills. So just kind of describe it if you could.
Yeah, Goals for Girls is an organization that uses the power of football to teach girls leadership. One of the USPs for what we do is that we then use that leadership to inspire community change. So when girls participate on our program, they go home with a Goals for Girls challenge. And that is to find ways that they can make a positive change in their communities. And so during our summits, we have time for classroom sessions where we talk about leadership, empowerment, education, self-worth. And then we also have football games that we play for the girls to showcase their talents, for those that are new to develop and just to have fun around the game that we will love. They then focus on a challenge that's in line with the SDG goals. And we ask them to think about their communities, what's going on, what could be changed, and how can you help? And we support them in their projects. We then have check-in points further down the line to make sure that they're okay, or if they need any support from us, that we can provide it for them. And so that's in essence what we're about, providing leadership for young girls through sport.
Absolutely. One of the things that having worked in more traditionally aligned communities is the ability that you all have had in getting parents engaged, particularly to I hate to use the word allow their girls to participate in this way. And so tell us about how you've all been able to overcome some of the obstacles that some of us reach in trying to engage young women in some of our programs.
Yeah, I think to start off with, it's important to let people know that, you know, we have three main regions at the moment. We're in the US, we're in India, and we're in South Africa. And of course, all of those regions have different views on female participation in sport. We're quite fortunate in the US that the women's game is probably one of the largest in terms of soccer being a female sport, which is very different from where I am in London, where it's predominantly a male sport. In other regions, there's a big stigma against girls playing in sport, and particularly playing football, given that the uniform requires shorts and short sleeves, which in some parts of the world is seen as a taboo and is not regularly seen. So we are trying to get these girls to use their voice in a safe way to participate in that. And what we do is we try and show and educate parents and mentors that this is a great way to channel the energy that these young girls have, and that they're able to express themselves through sport. And so that's something that we try and do and make sure that it's done in a safe way that's not going to put them in harm's way, and also that we're collaborative with mentors and parents. We do workshops with them and make sure that they're in the know about what we're doing with their girls and how it really can change their lives.
Perfect. And it is not necessarily as simple as you put it. It requires a lot of trust and engagement. And I certainly, again, admire how you all have been able to continually do that in the communities that you've participated. So we saw the brief video on Bangalore, the summit in 2020. That was the last kind of in-person summit that you all were able to have. You were fortunate to even get it in 2020 before the COVID hit and kind of disturbed a lot of what we all have been doing. As you come into the next summit, and I'm sure it's well underway being planned, how much will you all think about the isolation that's occurred over the past year when you implement and bring your kind of teaching and classroom work with the young girls into, how much will that be kind of front and center this time as opposed to what you've done in the past?
Yeah, I think for a lot of organizations and a lot of individuals, COVID has changed the way that we operate and how we deliver our programming. And you mentioned Bangalore. We just last month had a digital summit with our participants in India.
Great.
And of course, because we're unable to meet in person, we're bringing them together online. And one of the topics that we chose to focus on, which we sent a survey out for the girls to tell us what they wanted, one of the top picks was around mental health. And so we engaged with experts in the field in India who were able to come and do mental health and well-being training and session. We talked about self-talk and self-image, how we see ourselves in comparison to how the world sees us, and how we can try and change that narrative for good. We talked about, meditation and breathing and visualization, and just to give them tools that for so many girls at that age have never been forced to consider in the same way before. Right. And you mentioned isolation, and we've got teams all over India, all over South Africa, and all over the US. And so what's so powerful is being able to bring them together. We have had a team who have been unable to meet at their academy for the whole of the year, and our session last month was the first time they were able to see other girls.
Wow.
In e-person, I'd put it.
Right.
But it was so powerful to unite them. We had over 200 girls. We had coaches, we had guest speakers that were phenomenal to come and share their expertise. So that's how we've done it. We've tried to focus on the messaging that they want, and try and give them the tools to kind of stay mentally strong during what's been a tough time for us all, quite frankly.
Wow, that's amazing that you were able to get that kind of number of folks to participate and it doesn't surprise me that it's the first time some of peers have seen each other. So good for you all for being able to continue that and stay connected. As we know, all young people just need to have that caring, consistent adult presence and really have an opportunity to belong. Those are such fundamental tenets to youth development, and good for you all to continue to, figure out ways to keep that going so that the young people are in a position to thrive.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are some folks that are interested and have some young girls in their lives and would be interested in learning more and maybe even participating in this. How does one go about getting more information to, find out more about the program?
Yeah, we engage a lot on our social media platforms. You can find us at Goals for Girls, and that's for the letter FOR rather than the number. We have a website, www.goalsforgirls.org, which outlines our mission, our programs. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter on all of those handles. So we're trying to make sure that we have a presence, and we welcome everybody to check out what we're doing and engage with us online. We also have an online library session for those who are able to get access to that post summits. If you participate in our online summits, we have an access to an online library which has hours of activities for girls to do in this isolating time, at home, with friends, with peers. So that's also available via the website too.
Perfect. It's just very exciting to have you be able to share this with everybody today. Again, Lola, thanks so much for what it is that you're doing. Thanks for your time today. And we look forward to maybe digging a little deeper in a future episode where we look about with particularly sport and the way sport is being brought together around youth development in general. And I think we might be able to go a little deeper with some of the work that you all have been able to do. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.